So this chapter opens up in the mountains of G City, and we see Atomic Samurai's disciples talking about a My Mask. This is because they spent a brief time with a My Mask during the Monster Association arc, along with the private military group. During that sequence, the private military group was brainwashed by Super S's ability, and a My Mask, instead of trying to save them, just straight up tried to kill them. But before he was able to do it, E-Iron was able to save them, and he says that he can only see a bloodthirsty homicidal maniac. So now that time has passed, they're like investigating a My Mask and digging into his history, but they're not able to find anything. As Akame Itachi says, nothing is known about his history before his debut. But interestingly enough, we do know some stuff, not before his debut, but some stuff that hasn't really had light shed in the manga. It's actually revealed in the data book that came out like almost 10 years ago at this point, where it said that he used to wear a mask while performing his heroic activities, but an incident revealed his true face. And since then, he has not only been a hero and an idol, he is also a special advisor to the Association on Public Relations, and that formerly he was called Secret Mask, and he changed his name after his handsome face was revealed. But going further, E-Iron says that it looked like a monster without a human heart that was struggling to control itself and somehow get one. And that's pretty interesting considering what we've been talking about for a while now with My Mask. And I'll replay what I talked about last year. Way back in the previous arc, after a My Mask had defeated Super S, we thought that he had killed her, but it turned out that he actually didn't. And when she woke up, she tasted his blood because she had stabbed him in the eye previously. She was like, this is monster blood. So that, along with the My Mask being able to regenerate from said grievous injury, along with him being ripped in half by Fear Ugly and having his face smashed in, it's looking like a My Mask is pretty much a monster at this point, or something like that at the minimum. So yeah, there's a lot of evidence against a My Mask here, but Akame Itachi does say that if the face changes are not just a special ability, but a sign of monsterization. Actually, it seemed to me like the area around his face was physically changing from emotional agitation. So the verdict is still out, but like I said, the evidence is really compounding against him. And considering that he's being talked about here, and he has like that lingering storyline going on where he's becoming kind of subtly obsessed with Saitama since he's pretty much figured out that he is incredibly powerful, we for sure are going to get more insight into a My Mask as the story goes on. If not this year, then next year for sure, in my opinion. But first, let's talk about the sponsor of this video, Factor. Factor makes meeting your nutrition goals easier than ever by delivering fresh, never frozen, dietitian approved meals right to your doorstep. Also, if you're familiar with HelloFresh, which I've also used before and love, Factor is in partnership with them. Their team of gourmet chefs create each meal using only ingredients with integrity to help you feel your best all day long. This July, get Factor and enjoy eating well without the hassle. Simply choose your meals and enjoy fresh, flavor-packed meals delivered to your door. Ready in just 2 minutes, no prep, no mess. Also, if you want to budget this July by cutting back on takeout, you can get Factor instead. Not only is Factor cheaper than takeout, but meals are ready faster than restaurant delivery. Because like I said, guys, it's just 2 minutes. Or for an easy wellness boost, try refreshing beverage options like cold pressed juices, shakes, and smoothies. For me personally, all day long, I'm pretty much working on YouTube. I'm sure you've seen on the channel that I'm always uploading, and it can make things pretty hectic, especially trying to get meals in during the day. And Factor really helps me with that. Because they're simple and delicious and all I have to do is just pop them in the microwave, it saves me from monotonous meal prep or even worse, having to eat out all the time, which is super expensive. I tried the jalapeno lime cheddar chicken and this was so good. As always with Factor, the chicken was cooked perfectly. And the cheddar sauce with the jalapeno and lime just works so well together, and it was perfectly complemented by the spicy cilantro cauliflower rice. I also tried the mushroom, tomato, and goat cheese cavatappi with herb roasted zucchini. I can't say enough good things about this. Like, I wish I had more of this, to be honest. And the herb roasted zucchini was cooked perfectly as well. This was just so good. So guys, head to factor75.com or click the link below and use code Zhoniin50 to get 50% off of your first Factor box. That's such a great offer. And again, it's code Zhoniin50 to get 50% off of your first Factor box. Thanks, guys. Then we cut to what is being called as the Reborn Council of Sword Masters. This is because 2 of them died in the Battle of the Cadres. And, maybe some of us thought that 3 of them died, but no, Zhoniin is alive. And I know, yeah, it's kind of shocking because he had like half of his body melted off by Vomited Fear Ugly. He also took out the other 2 council members, but in one panel, after the Cadre battle was over and Fubuki was able to heal some people and they were kind of rounding up all the survivors, Spring Mustachio, who is Nichiren's student, grabbed him, and Fubuki was like, I don't know, had him on life support with her Esper healing powers or something. And Nichiren got cybernetic limbs. Not just legs, but like, I guess everything from the waist down is cyborg now. Even, the part that you're thinking of, I assume that is cybernetic as well. And it makes you think, like, what's going on with E-Iron? And I guess we could just assume that E-Iron doesn't want a cybernetic arm. Like, he's fine with just having a missing arm at this point. Like, he's just going Shanks mode. We even get some commentary on this from E-Iron, where he's like, because those who don't have something often know its value more, referring to his arm. But also referring to my mask, of course. So yeah, anyone who was hoping for E-Iron to get a cybernetic arm, it's over. We can just move on at this point. And it's also probably for the best because we're going to see more characters with cybernetic parts and stuff, and it's all going to lead to something bad, I can assure you, especially Nichiren. Like, this isn't the end of Nichiren's story and his cybernetic lower half, and it doesn't have a good outcome in my opinion. That's not a spoiler. I'm just saying I'm pretty sure I see where this is going. But also, we're seeing that Amahare and Zanbai, the 2 other council members that were killed by Vomited Fear Ugly, had children, Yuta and Shido. And I don't know how powerful they are, but I assume they're not S-class level. They're probably like A-class heroes, maybe fringe S-class or something, but I can see them joining the Hero Association, especially because now that there is the Neo Heroes and there's going to be like a divide between the hero factions and everything, I'm sure there's going to be new recruits on both sides. And I think that not only them, but also Nichiren might join the Hero Association, because at the end of this sequence, he's like, maybe being a hero isn't too bad either. Then Nichiren starts talking to Atomic Samurai, and he shows him that even with his artificial body, he can still circulate his chi. And he does like this ultimate special slashing move on an apple, but he doesn't slice the apple, he slices like the rock face behind it. And it turns out that this is like a super ultimate ability that only the highest masters know. Where Atomic Samurai says, have you never seen this before? Nichiren's exquisite skill is such that his sword is so fast it doesn't even open up a cut. And that's because the apple hasn't even noticed it's been cut. And it's like, what? Yeah, I know. And webcomic readers, you know where this is going. But yeah, pretty fascinating concept here. Then Nichiren talks to Atomic Samurai more about being a hero and whatnot, especially because one of his big motivations in joining the Hero Association was to compete with Bang, who he never really competed with. He kind of just had small talk with him from time to time. But since his battle with the other heroes against Orochi and the Cadres, he's found new purpose, and he says, I get to experience things that I can't get anywhere else. So he's kind of at peace with being a hero now, despite Bang retiring. But then he also says, not to mention, among the top heroes, there's still a man whose true power is unfathomable to me. Speaking of King, of course, he says whether or not I continue depends on the appraisal of that guy. So that's like Atomic Samurai's new goalpost. He's found it in King, which is understandable because, everybody still thinks King is the one above all. Of course, this is showing Atomic Samurai's character development, as Nichiren points out here, saying you're more tolerant of others than you used to be. Shall I say you've broadened your outlook. Then we cut back to Saitama and Genos heading back to the Hero Association, and we see Forte has made a doghouse for Black S and Rover, and he's feeding them as well, and we see Black S is very happy to eat the food, and he's like, for now, I just need to devote myself to eating and increasing my cell count. Of course, this is alluding to Black S's inevitable comeback, which I do think is going to happen, but don't hold your breath on that. It's going to take a long time. He's still pretty much just a singular cell at this point. But Genos meets Forte in this sequence, and he finds out that Forte is Saitama's neighbor, and he pretty much forces him out of his apartment so that he can move next to Saitama. So I guess we're going to have that dynamic going forward. Then we cut back to the disciples in a sushi conveyor belt restaurant, and they're looking to get the best pieces of sushi, I suppose, and they're like asking for salmon and the fatty tuna and whatnot, but it's apparently been taken. And to be honest, I don't know why this is really an issue, because you can kind of just order what you want. Like, you don't have to be reliant on what's on the conveyor belt. But I guess this restaurant doesn't have the option of ordering for your specific table. But it doesn't matter, because this is a plot device for Atomic Samurai to confront King, because of course he is the one who took the fatty tuna. How convenient, because he's the one that he wanted to meet anyway. And he walks up to King and he's like, I never expected to see you here, Mr. Strongest Man on Earth. Came here today to meet you. I want to talk to you for a minute. And that's where the chapter ends. So the next chapter, I'm assuming we're going to see a straight up showdown between Atomic Samurai and King. And if it does play out, man, you guys are in for a treat. I assume One and Murata are going to adapt this chapter from the webcomic masterfully, because in the webcomic, it's one of the best chapters easily, and I assume it will be in the manga as well. So look out for that. And if you like the video, guys, please give it a like and please subscribe if you haven't already. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.